think. How does it work? Okay, back and forth. Hello. I think I will just do my brief presentation and then Rob will introduce the panelists. And I have to start with an apology. There's a misspelling in the text, so I hope you can bear over with that. As said, my name is Niels Westergaard. I come from BioPeople University of Copenhagen, and we have been involved in content production and also as tutors. And as you can hear, I am following native Irish-speaking people. I am Danish with a very strong accent, but I can reveal today that actually 25% of my blood in my veins is Irish. One of my grandfathers came from Ireland. But unfortunately, I don't have the very nice dialect. So this is an open dialogue with 3 students, Q&A session. And maybe you have heard this before. It's a kind of repetition, but again, I think it's very good that everybody will be on the same page when we are going to have the discussion in a few seconds. So just some kind of brief introduction. And if you look how things were done, let's say, not that many years back, new medicines development was mainly a dialogue between industry, clinic, academia, and also regulators. But new winds are blowing across Europe towards a paradigm shift of having patients much more involved in medicines R&D. And there's a growing awareness that this involvement of patients, both in R&D but also in the regulatory part of it, is very crucial and is of great value for developing of new medicines. So the goal is getting the right treatment at the right time. As also said by Evelyn, this is a brief update on that patients would like to know, but are largely unaware about clinical trials, translational research, so on and so forth. So all this is based on the patient partner project from the 7th Frame program. And we have a vision, and that is to educate patients to be active. That's very important in drug development from the very beginning, from the A part to when drug has been on the market to the Z part. And there's a list of things where people potentially can be or are already involved, but the list is not exhaustive. There's many other options for patients to be involved. It's up to you to define that in the coming future. Again, the objective by this project is, of course, to implement the European Patient Academy across Europe. And in order to do that, we cannot just say, do it. We need to build capacity. We need to secure that patients who are interested in being empowered are also trained in the right way. And that by that, we can make patient centricity as a key in future medicines R&D. And we don't do the training just for the sake of patients. I mean, there's a larger picture above it, if you can say it that way. And this is all about, getting better public health, make sure that the money goes to the right place at the right time, and also to establish a trustworthy collaboration between academia, patients, and the regulatory based on future development. And all this is about bringing this triangle, which I think is a very good way of illustrate how things could look like in the future. So this is the key objectives for EUPATI. And also, as Evelyn said, we have 3 levels of training and education, and I would just give you a brief overview of the European Patient Expert course. It's for around 100 patients. We have divided it into 2 cycles, and the first cycle is more or less in the middle, and we will hear much more about that soon. And the next round of 50 patients will start the course in September this year, and it's in English. So the goal is that we will like to provide patients with reliable, objective, and comprehensive information about medicines development. And what is important here is that, and that's a very important message as I see it, the material we will teach is neutral, meaning that it's not disease-specific, it's not medicine-specific, and it's not pharma-specific. However, in order to learn about it, you need some time to drag in very good examples or very poor examples to illustrate how things is going on and how things maybe went on if you look a little bit back. So how is the course structured? It's structured in the way that we have two types of training, so to say. We have the e-learning part, where we have built a platform where you as a student or future students can log in and they can go through the different modules in the pace they like. They can go back, read it again, and when they have ended a module, there will be a quiz in order to measure if they have, if you as a patient have captured the main part of the module. And then what you have learned by the e-learning, you can bring into this face-to-face, and the first one was in Barcelona a couple of weeks ago. So you can practice what you have learned in open discussions, and also there's a chance to ask people if there's something you didn't really understood or other things. But I think we will come back to that soon. We have estimated the course to be 150, 175 hours, but I've heard that it might be a little bit low. But let's see when the course is finished if we have to increase the number of hours a little bit. And we have planned for 2 times face-to-face training. So also, as Evelyn showed, we have divided the course into 6 modules, starting with a kind of introduction, and then we move through the whole medicines development process and end up in module 6 with health technology assessment and principles and practices, and also life cycle management of medicines. I will not go into details about that, but this is something you can also see on the EUPATI website. And beside that, you can see the syllabus, which covers around 100 topics, and that's also available from the EUPATI website. So that's the status of the first course. We have just finished the face-to-face in Barcelona, and the first 2 modules have been taught. We are still lacking a little bit of module 3, and module 4 has been released too. And as you can see, we have these module quiz after each module. And the next face-to-face will be in September next year. I believe it's also in Barcelona. And we expect the course to end around December this year. So this is the status, and I look very much forward to give you the word. I will just let this final slide be as a kind of a statement that knowledge empowers you. So Rob, can you take over from here?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. The first thing I'd like to do is to invite our 3 guest students to come up to the table and sit with us. Demetrios Athanasiou from Greece, Peter Lack from Switzerland, and Sharon Thompson from Ireland. If you could please come up and share the stage with us.